husband called me dead weight and left me for his billionaire client. 5 years later, he applied for a job at the company I owned. The night my husband left me, he didn't even bother lowering his voice. You'll never be successful without me. Then he pointed at the woman standing beside him. This is Victoria. She's worth more than you'll earn in 10 lifetimes. Victoria smiled. I'm sorry he had to settle before meeting me. They walked out together. I stood in our apartment surrounded by packed boxes. 3 days later, I discovered my husband hadn't just left me. He had emptied our savings, transferred clients from the small design business we built together, even convinced everyone I had stolen company funds. Within a month, I had lost my marriage, my business, my reputation. At 32, I was delivering food at night just to pay rent. Most people would have given up. I didn't. Every night after deliveries, I studied finance, marketing, artificial intelligence, construction technology, anything that could help me build something new. A retired customer named Mrs. Brooks noticed I always carried business books. One evening she asked, "What are you building?" I laughed. "Nothing yet," she smiled. Wrong answer. She introduced me to a startup accelerator she had invested in. I pitched an idea nobody believed in. A platform that used AI to reduce construction waste. 20 investors rejected me. The 21st didn't. He invested just enough for me to survive. For the next 4 years, I worked harder than I ever had. I slept in the office, missed birthdays, skipped holidays. Slowly, the company grew. 1 contract became 10, 10 became 100. Then an international engineering firm bought a 40% stake for $900 million. Overnight, my shares were worth more than $1 billion. I didn't celebrate. I just called my mother. We cried together. I thought that chapter of my life was over. I was wrong. One Monday morning, my HR director walked into my office. "We've got an executive applicant with an impressive resume." She handed me the file. Ryan Mitchell. My ex-husband. Apparently Victoria's billionaire family had gone bankrupt after a fraud investigation. She divorced him. His consulting business collapsed. Now, he was looking for work. He had no idea my company owned the building. No idea I was the CEO. I told HR to schedule the interview. When Ryan walked into the conference room and saw me, the color drained from his face. "You," I smiled politely. "Good morning." He couldn't stop staring. I didn't know. I know. For 30 uncomfortable minutes, I conducted the interview professionally. No insults, no sarcasm, just questions. Finally, he whispered, "I made the biggest mistake of my life." I simply nodded. "I know." Then came the first twist. Before ending the interview, I asked one final question. If someone betrayed you, stole your work, and destroyed your reputation, what would you say they deserved? He looked down. "I'd say they deserved another chance." I smiled. "Interesting." Then I slid a folder across the table. Inside were copies of the bank transfers, the stolen client emails, the forged financial statements, evidence I'd quietly collected years earlier. I never used these. I wanted to succeed without revenge. He couldn't even look at me. Then came the second twist. I offered him the job, not the executive role. An entry-level analyst position, reporting to employees 20 years younger than him, with one condition. "If you earn promotions, you'll receive them. If you expect favors, walk out now." He accepted immediately, for 18 months. Ryan worked harder than I'd ever seen, never complained, never asked for special treatment. One afternoon he requested a meeting. "I don't want a promotion. I came to resign." I frowned. He placed a letter on my desk. "I've spent 18 months trying to become the kind of person I should have been. But every time I see you, I'm reminded of who I used to be." He thanked me, then quietly walked away. That was the last time I ever saw him. Months later, I learned he'd started a nonprofit teaching financial literacy to people rebuilding after divorce. I genuinely hoped he found peace. As for me, a year later I met Daniel. He had no idea I was a billionaire. We met at a charity event where I was anonymously volunteering. Our first conversation wasn't about money, or success, or business. It was about our favorite childhood books. When I eventually told him who I was, he laughed. "I liked you before the headlines." That was exactly what I needed. Today, people often ask if becoming a billionaire was the best revenge. They're wrong. Money wasn't the revenge. Watching the woman who was once called dead weight become impossible to ignore, without losing her kindness, that was the real victory. Because success doesn't erase betrayal. It simply proves betrayal didn't define your future. What would you have done if your ex-husband applied for a job at the billion-dollar company you built after he betrayed you? Did Ryan deserve the opportunity I gave him, or should I have turned him away?